Hello and welcome as we are heading into Friday, the third day of November 2017. And in this video, I want to go over an idea that I've basically had since the start of crypto trading, and that of a cryptocurrency type fund, and which is backing basically other traders or a trader, whatever. As an example, let's assume I decided I wanted to start doing this. I get the website developed as I would need be, and I start out and I offer we'll say 100-for-1 split for every 1 Bitcoin that you send. I'm going to give you 100 tokens, and it will automatically be worth, when you buy it on the Bitcoin market, 0.01. Now, as people start buying into such, then the numbers would grow to whichever, and that would be used for trading on the market. And within such, it would have to be very automated. So whenever one would go to the web page, they could see the portfolio value. Therefore, let's just assume that, again, we start off, there's 100 Bitcoins in there. You'd see 100, if that's what it was. And next thing you know, market's going up. It's say 105, it's up 5. And well, in this case, this fund would go to like this. Okay, so that would be available. Also, you'd have to be able to see every single holding. Bitcoin X%, Litecoin X%, and so on with everything. As well as when everything gets sold, when anything gets bought. All that information would have to be there whenever somebody buys into this fund. Of course, somebody buying in would never inflate the market to make it worse, because let's assume that I had 1 Bitcoin and it was worth 100 shares. Now someone comes in, I want to buy 0.2. Okay, now I got 1.2 and I got 120 shares, but it would still be worth the same as it was before. And then at any time, if they wanted to sell, they could request a sell payout. Well, they get it. And then it would be taken off, also be displayed for public viewing on the internet. Okay, so let's look at it further now. When we have the markets moving, at least on a portfolio level, a successful trader will often have a consistent uptrend. There will be situations where they might have a poor session and they'll ultimately usually always recover, at least the ones of high skill levels, and so on and so forth. Now, what I would want to be doing within math algorithms is ensuring that any time portfolio level is at an all-time high, that there is small percentage of gains that would go to like creator profits. Whereas when markets go down, none of that's being done. And when market is getting gains from previous levels, there would be no cuts, if you will, no take rake fees from the creators, at least during that session. But when it breaks this level and, of course, makes its new highs and all of these places and here and here, here and here and in here, I'd probably find some sort of mathematical algorithm to ensure that I would get my cut as a trader. And I'm thinking with an idea like this within a market. I could have a chart like this, which we'll say starts off at 0.1. It's 0.01. We'll do the 100-to-1 ratio. Yet after, say, 3 months, this number goes to, say, let's see, what's a good realistic 3-month gain? You know what? I'm going to go small ball even. I'm just going to double it only. I mean, doubling a bankroll in 3 months isn't that hard, but it can also not be done depending on market conditions as well. And it's still a very good accomplishment to do. Let's go 4 months even, because that's better than 1% a day even. Yeah, this is let's just say this was 4 months. The price action, the portfolio doubled. So you would see a lot of market movements where every other cryptocurrency is having much wilder moves. A code like this would be like the SPY. That's not really the SPY, but maybe like the silver market, where if you have an up move or down move of 2%, oh my goodness, that is huge. Although it's more common to have a 2% up day. A 4%, 5% day, possible, and they're going to happen, not too common. And very common, oh, it went up 0.4%. Next day, down 0.25, up 1.71, up 0.35, up 0.2, down 1%, up 2.1%. It'd be like a gold market. But I think this would be cool because as a trader myself, if you're looking for mechanisms to get in and out of Bitcoins, the simple one is in Bitcoins, out of alts, or out of alts and into Bitcoins. But if you want out of Bitcoins, you can take the US dollar tether, which is, if you think all alts are going to, all currencies are going to go down, then you can go in that route. If they had stuff like gold and silver, even crude oil, that'd be pretty cool for cryptos for things like that. Because then if I wanted to get out of cryptos, but I didn't want to go in the dollar, maybe I wanted to go into gold or silver and have like a fake system that works as well as a tether does, that'd be pretty cool. But here, this would give people an opportunity to get into a code of some sort, which is this one in here, that is going to rely on somebody's trading. And market conditions people cannot pump and dump this because you can't. It would be stupid to. If the market had a big move up to this 0.2 handle, it just had this, oh my goodness, right in here. Why on a market condition would you buy it for significantly higher when you can go to the website and buy it for only 2% over market value, say? It would be dumb. But if somebody did, well, now you as a trader could sell on the market and go right to my webpage, sell it to me with a 2% fee, and maybe make 5 or 6% yourself if anyone were to do it. And people would do that, which would thus keep the markets in line so that it couldn't get pumped higher or dumped lower. It could only work within how the trader is trading. And of course, for something like this to happen, it would have to be all automated, every single situation of the portfolio. Something like maybe Bitcoin. Okay, you can see on there, BTC, you got, say, 31.7%. And then you might see Ethereum. And of course, it'll look more professional, but maybe this is at 10.2 and so on and so forth. And you could even, it'd be even cool to see all the trades, like the most recent trades, something like sell, say, I don't know, 500 of this for yada, 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 and then so on and so forth down below for all the buys and sells that would occur. As well, the data for people who buy and sell directly from say me on my website if I were to have something like this, or whichever company were to do something like this. So you buy there, you would see, okay, there was a purchase of so many Bitcoins for so many units which have been sent, which means our supply is now this, which never would change the price because you're just adding in to the fund at the market, well, works towards the market price. And same thing when you sell out of it. So that would be all on the web page. All the buys of people and the sells. So when you go to the actual web page itself, it might say portfolio value is worth, say, 0.01627 and whatever else. Then you would see on like the other sites that it would be probably trading in and around that number, a little bit above or a little bit below. And that would think would be pretty darn near cool if something like that were to exist. I know if you look at it from the spectrum of, say, if I were to do it myself, this would give traders an opportunity to be able to trade at a much larger level. So when the portfolio makes all-time highs, then you can make a good reasonable cut when that is going on. Now, of course, myself, if I were to actually do something like this, I have no plans in the short or immediate term future to do anything like this. But if it works out into 2018-19 that I could do it, I might do it if it's available. But I would definitely need a team of traders on magnificent proportions. Not only that, but you need a web page team. It's an interesting idea, I think, to say the least, for a venture of this type of magnitude. And maybe something like this already exists where you can do something like that, but I know it does not exist where you can actually trade it on the actual main exchanges. So when you go on BITTREX and POLONIEX and Bitfinex and all of the other ones, that you could actually get into this type of code and buy it easily there, of course, as well as on the main web page. But usually you would get a better deal buying on the exchange. For, let's just assume this is my market. If you want to buy, maybe it's going to cost you 0. Well, that's the cost, 116.27. But if you're going to sell, maybe it's something like this. So there's always going to be a reasonably decent ratio where I would hope the exchanges would fix this issue. So if I was offering this at any given time, I would hope I would see what I would like to see, something like 1, 6, 1, 3, 2, like this, and 1, 6, 1, 2, 5, something like this nature there. And of course, when I were to show this, I would show what the fair value was. What's the difference? 37 points. So something like 0.1612 or whatever would be somewhere in here would be a fair value. And then again, why would anyone pump this up to much higher price when you could, of course, just buy it on my site or whoever had the site at this price? And of course, this would be to ensure that the markets could not get pumped and dumped because of market behavior. Thank you for tuning in. I just wanted to put this out because I've just heard about this BitPetite thing, like where apparently traders could get like 1% a day. And this would be the kind of idea if a trader can make consistent gains on the market, maybe not 1%, but even 0.7%, even with the all-time high rate commission, to make 0.5, 0.7% a day. Do you know how many traders would just want to flock into this type of fund? I think it would do very, very well, to the point where if I started this, I could start it at a low number like 100 Bitcoin. Next thing you know, within a year, it could be worth like 5,000 Bitcoins, not because of I tripled the portfolio, but because people bought in X more and more and more. They're like, oh my goodness, this thing just keeps on grinding its way with good gains. That would be the plan. Anyway, thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.